I was not the only one. My front office was not the only one. My coaches, my players, we were not the only ones that thought that this roster and this team with the coach, with the team, like everything we had was a competitive team to compete for a championship. Definitely not to miss the playoffs, right? And so it's surprising, disappointing, and that's why, we're all talking about it. It's not like we just barely missed expectations. We missed it by a long shot. And so that delta is tough to handle.
That is Mat Ishbia, the owner of the Suns on Burns and Gambo, last Thursday here on Arizona Sports on the general subject of expectations not being met. And he's not running from it. And he didn't say we were close. Yeah. He knows they weren't close to meeting expectations, and they were a major failure. But, wow, 66% of those polled.
At AZ Central, I think it was over 500 people. 500, not a huge sampling.
And just generally speaking, I thought it was a weird exercise because they only considered owners and coaches.
And not GMs.
And not general managers and decision makers, which was strange to me. But I wouldn't have guessed the number would be that low.
Right. And so the point is that Mat Ishbia believes that basketball fans in Phoenix think he's a great owner. Those words came out of his mouth at the press conference. Not good, not favorable, great. And that is not exactly the case. And what that is worth is up for debate. Here's kind of where I landed over the weekend thinking about this. So there was a time when Ken Kendrick didn't have the best reputation in Arizona. Mm-hmm. He was very, very favorable rating in the 60s percentile, which it shows great evolution and growth from him in terms of that realm.
Nearly 60, I guess.
Nearly 60?
Yeah.
Okay. But the point is that Ken Kendrick found himself a general manager he respects, truly respects. And I think that has made all the difference in the world. Because it's allowed Ken Kendrick to find that perfect lane of being there. Ken Kendrick is exactly what Mat Ishbia says he is. A guy that is an enabler, that will fund ideas that come to him. I don't know if Mat Ishbia is what he says he is, but I'm not sure all of that is his fault. I hope if they're going to change out the front office, my hope is that he gets a general manager who wows him to the point that Matt says, okay, you know what? You're in charge. Only come to me for money. You're the dude in charge because I believe in you that much. Now, I'm going to say this respectfully because I have a lot of respect for James Jones as a player and certainly as the GM that almost pulled off a miracle in building a homegrown championship team. 2 wins away from a chip. We can't forget that.
Yes.
So I'm going to say this with all due respect. If Mat Ishbia comes in and he finds a general manager who believed in A but doesn't fight for it, or who didn't want to trade for Kevin Durant because of the costs involved, but didn't put his foot down, or didn't express strongly enough, being compliant enough to make Mat Ishbia feel good about the decisions he wants and the players he wants, that might be an element working against James Jones. Because while it helps in terms of your interpersonal relationship with the new owner, and maybe it helps your job security by being amenable to what the owner wants, it's not the ticket to respect. Do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Okay. So that to me could be the game changer. If he gets on the market, I don't even know if he's looking for a GM or anything like it. But if he gets on the market and he finds a guy that this dude knows what he's talking about, I'm listening to this guy. And if this dude comes in and speaks hard truths to Mat Ishbia, maybe that is going to transpire. I mean it when I say it's interesting because after the Mat Ishbia press conference, there's a lot of people who've lashed out at Matt. Then there's been people who've come back and said, all right, look, criticize him for what he's done here, but don't forget what he's trying to do here. Don't forget what's the word James Jones used? His care factor. So somewhere in there is a needle that has to be thread. And so that, to me, would be the best hope for the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
To find an executive that has a real clarity to team building and is really good at it and then gets the best of Mat Ishbia without the impatience and without the, I can do this. I can make this decision. I want this player. I don't care what you think. I want this player.
Yeah. Then you get into the question of the hiring process. And we've talked about this with coaches, and we shared the quotes from Stan Van Gundy is like, hey, it's a great job. You only have to work 1 year. You get paid for $600,000 a game to coach the Phoenix Suns, making jokes about it. But coaching is one thing. Coach is coach.
Yeah.
And if the Suns are interested in one thing we didn't get any clarity on in the press conference was how interested is Mat Ishbia in changing the basketball operations hierarchy, whether by adding somebody to oversee the whole department or handing the reins back to James Jones. Again, his contract is up at the end of June. He spoke at the press conference. Kevin Zimmerman in a piece on Arizona Sports asked the question, if he's gone, why did he speak? I mean, these are all solid questions, but how attractive a project is this for an architect from a basketball standpoint when you come in and you don't have free reign on what you can do? And that's not ownership restriction. That's NBA salary cap, second apron restriction.
That's a great point.
There's only so much you can change.
Something has to be done sooner than later, though, right? They can't just wait till the end of June and let his contract expire and then decide to, reshape the front office. If they're looking for a coach, doesn't that have to be part of it, is having a GM that will help look for that coach?
Yes.
You can't wait another 2 months.
Matt Ishbia said 60 to 90 days.
So the
process.
They hired Mike Budenholzer 2 days after they hired Frank Vogel. Mm-hmm. They hired Frank Vogel 24 days after they fired Monty Williams. So both of those were less than the 30 to 60 days.
Well, but also Mat Ishbia said in one of the not so thinly veiled shots at Mike Budenholzer, there was no evaluation needed for the head coach. That decision was obvious.
Yes.
And that's what a lot of the people who are criticizing Mat Ishbia don't understand. They don't understand that Mike Budenholzer, from what I'm hearing, was fired for cause, not for change, fired for cause. And the people who are ripping Mat Ishbia for being impatient aren't considering that. Aren't considering that there might have been stuff and elements of this head coach that no, that ain't it.
That the line where he was like saying, "There's more to it, but I'm not going to get into that right now."
There's a lot of reasons why he's not here.
Exactly.
Burns and Gambo asked Mat Ishbia too what he plans on learning from the last two head coaching hires to get it right this time.
Well, two things. One, we got to set the tone at the organization level about what we're about here in Phoenix. We're not going to just hire any coach that just comes in, fits in, and get any player that's talented and put him in there and see how. We're going to say this is what we're about and this is how we're going to play. And I think I referenced at the press conference, like Pittsburgh Steelers, and I don't know if you guys I'm not a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, by the way, but it's just their football program or organization. It's very clear what they're about there. Michigan State basketball, where I came from, it's very clear. Like we're going to block out, we're going to hit you across the chest. Like we're tough. There's certain stuff that you just know about Tom Izzo, Michigan State basketball teams. Phoenix Suns have to have an identity, and we have had no identity, and we have to have an identity. Then we have to pick a coach that's aligned with that identity.
But that's all well and good, Bick. But if that's going to be your major talking point in a press conference and a radio interview, don't you reveal what you want that identity to be?
Yeah.
As opposed to, are we still workshopping what the identity is going to be?
Yeah. It's confusing to me, the idea of, okay, then is this a new thought? The power of identity? And it's a little bit odd to me. We're workshopping it. We don't know what it is yet, but you're going to love it. It's going to be undeniable.
It kind of sounds like the words that Kevin Spacey used as John Doe in Seven. Oh, when I'm done here, you'll know exactly what has happened.
And
it's going to be amazing.
What's in the box?
He was just killing people.
That's right.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.